Hello, Devlin here with you, and welcome to another edition of Devlin's Pirate Radio Show. And I'm excited because it's been a while. It almost seems like a long time since I haven't had a co-host. It probably isn't because I had some breaks in there, but I am happy I've got one here, and it's I admit sometimes I use this so I can hang out with people that I've always wanted to hang out with. I use my show, sue me. No laughing, because I know I've interviewed a lot of people, but yes, I met her at Improv through the staircase. I think probably about 70% of the people I have here I've met through Improv. We were both in beginners class together, and we used to also go to karaoke every once in a while. They used to have incredible karaoke, and we used to talk a lot in between. We'd have breaks at Improv, and we'd talk about TV. We talked about life in general, and we got to know each other pretty good. And then we were invited to the advanced, and I think she kind of went a different direction. I think she stopped doing improv, and then you all know my history. I went on. But I also remember one particular party. I think it was a get-together. Somebody had a get-together, and I remember being in a backyard, and we started talking about the thing that really binded us. And we started talking about David Lynch, and then we found out that we were both fanatics. We're talking fanatics of Twin Peaks. And I thought, since the new Twin Peaks show is coming here, it's brand new episode's going to be airing any week now. I don't know the exact day. I decided that I'm going to have her on to talk about stuff, and we're going to do a whole Twin Peaks segment. My co-host tonight is Miss Justine Dennis.
Hi, Devlin. Glad I can actually finally come down, and we can actually sit down, talk about Twin Peaks, life in general. You're right. When we were a while ago, we did bond over Twin Peaks and life in general, and it was actually a Little Bloom's party where we started talking about Twin Peaks.
Now, I can never remember where it was, but I know I remember.
It was either that Little Bloom's, or it might have been Peter Johansson.
Yeah, Peter Johnson. Yeah,
Johnson. I think you were right.
Yeah, it was a backyard party or something. We were waiting. Yeah,
it was Peter's birthday actually.
That is it.
And then we just started. And then we both found out we both liked David Lynch, and then we got into this I don't know what you would call it. Philosophical discussion?
Yeah, I know. We were talking about really deep stuff, and anybody who knows David Lynch, that's really all you can talk. I have a lot of friends who like David Lynch, but they probably get bored talking about it, so it was really nice talking to somebody who saw so many of his movies and stuff like that. So now we're going to talk about Twin Peaks in its own segment, because I'm dying to talk Twin Peaks with you, but we will get to that. But let's get to know you a little bit, okay? Because honestly, I don't think I know a lot about you, so let's learn together. So where were you born?
I was born here in Hamilton. In fact, I was born August 17th, 1983 at MacLeod now Children's Hospital. Yeah, I grew up. I grew up in the same house, Markland Street. So I've been there all my life, living with my mom and my brother.
Really, you lived there right from birth to?
Yep.
Wow.
Never moved.
Is it just you, your mom, and your brother?
Well, it's me and my mom now. My brother essentially does live on Ferguson with my nephew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's good. Well, my partner, Mike, he's lived in this since he was like a little kid. Yeah. So he's been here quite a long time. So, yeah. But do you like that, or do you...
Yeah, well...
Do you ever crave change, or you just, that's my life, and I love it?
Well, I used to visit my dad. I used to visit my dad when he was younger. When I was younger, I did have my parents, those who know me well, my parents split when I was a little kid. So when I was younger, it was every other weekend with my father. So I don't get to see him as often as I do when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
because like I said, I have a full-time job and trying to find time to see them.
Yeah. Now, what were you like as a kid? Well, how would you describe yourself?
Introverted. I grew up with a cleft lip and palate, so it's means speaking or social skills weren't my strong suit.
Yeah.
So I was invited to the when people invited me. It was like a class birthday party.
Okay.
I remember I used to take. I remember being involved in different activities like ballets, soccer. I used to do speed skating to try and socialize myself as well.
So you were an introvert, but you were trying to get out there.
Yeah, I was trying to get out there, yeah.
Did you find it very hard for you to?
Yeah, since growing up with the cleft lip and palate, too. It's speech pronunciations, hospital visits to try and...
Really? Did you think that limited you in some ways? Like, do you think people judged you for that or something? Like when you were growing up?
Probably. I did feel a little bit about that. I did work a lot with like learning resources teachers.
Okay.
Yeah, middle school they tried to teach me like social skills. And
Okay.
I remember trying to learn social skills on top of everything else. Going and doing speech classes.
Okay.
Going to a speech therapist as well for my speech.
Now, how far did you go along in school? You went to university, right?
I went to college.
College?
Actually. I graduated from tourism and travel. Couldn't find anything in there. Did some on-sales like for the government in different places.
Okay.
Went back to school for probably about a year for EA, and then I went into office administration.
Okay.
While I was in the summer of office administration, found a full-time job working at a call center. So I'm working right now for Enercare.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so it's been a while since I've done a call center. My first real paying job, if it was working for Pizza, actually, I would be taking inbound calls. So if you were to...
Oh, yeah, because they do it in a call center, right?
Yeah, they do it in a call center, but I ended up doing it from home. And then they moved me in.
Really?
Yeah, I ended up doing it from home. They paid me...
Was that awesome to do it from your home, or was it weird just getting pizza calls all the time? You're trying to watch TV and...
No, well, I actually don't laugh. It was I actually had a little bit of an office, and then they moved it to the bedroom. So literally, there was about a foot between my office and my bed.
Okay.
And it actually helped me because I used to do the Saturday night closing shifts. So
everybody's calling for pizza.
Yeah, so I start probably. It used to be from midnight till 3, and then they increased it from like 10 to 11 till 3 o'clock, and then I would do a Sunday shift. I would do the lunch and the dinner rush on Sundays. So.
Wow. See, I'm fascinated with that. Honestly, I really am. People could tell me, like, I'm a construction worker, or, I do math problems, but I'm actually fascinated about a pizza call center, especially one right next to your bed, like.
Well, I did it from home, so
yeah.
So I used to do it in one room, and then it's kind of like due to circumstances I really don't want to get into. They moved it from that room into my bedroom, and it was just like really handy. Yep. And then there were some days I would be working, and then my mom, because she didn't want to call in, would give me an order because she would want me to get the commission.
Now, I have to ask, because I know there's at least one listener that's thinking this. Did you order pizza? Did you get it quicker because you were allowed to order it from the No,
it was still bad. No.
You weren't allowed to call yourself or order pizza?
Well, I did it myself, and I really don't want to. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for that.
You don't have to. Yeah, don't say anything that you don't want the pizza gangsters to come out after you.
I'm sure, you know what, I'm sure plenty of people did that. And I actually got help. For me, it was a little bit of a slow start, so I spent an extra week, and then I did it on my own. And then
Nice.
if I did have any problems, there were people down there to help me as well. So I remember since coming in, getting upgraded, and they was just, that's when they realized I could do more than a couple of hours a week.
Wow.
So
But you didn't expect to be talking about pizza for this long.
You know what, Devlin? I haven't. You know how long it's been since I've actually thought about. I thought about days like that. I remember hanging out. I think I was still doing improv at the time. I remember hanging out with Aha, and it's kind of like, no, I can't do that day. I have to do the pizza. I have to work for Pizza.
Nice. I find it fascinating. Now, you did do some public speaking when you was that in college or stuff?
Yes,
Because
it
I
was.
remember you.
Yes, it was.
I remember you were very excited because you
Yes,
were very nervous.
Yeah, I was doing public speaking, but what got me really freaked out was, I remember because I don't know what you would call them, my case manager is what they call them, found out I did improv, so I had to do a couple of improv workshops.
Oh, it's not great. Improv always gets you into trouble. Yeah.
Oh, it did, especially since we did, I don't know if you remember the game Big Booty.
Oh, my God. I don't think you can do improv without knowing Big Booty. Yeah, we don't play it as much, but I still like it, actually.
Oh, yeah.
It shows up once in a while.
I remember also, I had to do two improv workshops for the new people who were coming in, just like to break the ice. And I actually remember I was talking with you, I was talking with talking with Peter about what games Peter and the different people, and I remember everybody was like, "You got this. You can do it yourself."
Yeah. Improv was a great confidence builder, right?
It was, and it was also. I also had to talk to. I remember I actually had to talk to a group of parents and students who was close to graduating. They wanted my experience because they were close to graduating about what my experience was as somebody with special needs at the college. And of course I sent them what I was going to say beforehand, just to make sure I'm on the right track. They loved it, so I did it.
Nice.
I wrote it out. It was right after, toward the end of my tourism and travel, when I was graduating. So I came after class, in the taxi, and delivered the speech.
Very nice.
So during that improv class, I also remember having to field questions, and the facilitator who did that, and kind of like, I just remember breaking out laughing with everybody because, of course.
Well, fielding questions, that's tough.
Yeah.
Speaking is one thing, but...
Well, these people were just asking what it's like to be a college kid, and it was part of their orientation. They wanted to get them integrated into class, integrated into college life early on. So I just remember this. I just remember breaking out laughing because the facilitator, his name was Toby Merritt. He was asking what everybody remembered about the week, and a few people, and kind of like, because he was at one point Big Booty.
Okay.
So the kids were just like, oh, Toby Merritt and Big Booty, and I just like had a great big smile on my face and just broke down laughing. But
nice.
that class, I just did fundamentals. I did like freeze tag. I did the introduction, where you had to go around, had to remember everybody's name, circle, Big Booty, and the cup, and
nice.
And basically basically did some of the get to know you improv games that I learned from the staircase.
Very nice. So where you said where you were working now? What kind of place is that? Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm allowed to talk about that.
Okay.
It's a call center, so I'm working for Enercare in the maintenance department.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to, of course, due to confidentiality.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to talk about the clients. So it's a great place. I mean, like
well, that's the important thing if you're enjoying it.
I used to work in their inbound call center. They found that wasn't right for me, so they moved me to the maintenance. And yes, I've had
That's been great.
Yeah, it's been great. Yes, I've had my troubles, but they found ways to help me. I worked with them since to make sure I succeeded, and I've been working there for almost 2 years.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like you're happy there, so that's
It's get 2 weeks vacation. I get commission every 3 months. So
nice, excellent. Now I have to ask you this because I know you through Facebook and stuff, and I noticed that you watch a lot of television. Like, I can't keep up with all the shows that you're talking about with your friends, and you watch like sports on top of that. Do you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So this isn't just my imagination here.
No. Well, it's
like you're swapping tapes, and
it's how I do. It's how I decompress from work. It's kind of like I go to the library. Like there's a couple of zones, like key zones, besides of course Twin Peaks that I love watching. Like I watch a lot of the. I grew up basically with science fiction. I grew up basically Captain Picard was my childhood crush. I could not get enough of Captain.
I'm sure many people agree with you.
So even if I couldn't, like, I remember when it was on City TV, if there were a few episodes that my mom couldn't, if we couldn't watch it at 7 o'clock, my mom would tape the episodes. So I grew up basically with science fiction. I grew up with Star Trek The Next Generation. I grew up with The X-Files. I grew up with Buffy and Angel. I grew up watching, like, comic book cartoons as well. So... Hey, I even remember, I even apparently grew up watching Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock? That's the science fiction of them all, isn't it?
Yeah. So I grew up...
I wasn't judging. I just was like, wow, I think you watch more television than... Well, my niece used to watch a lot of television. I think she watched almost every show ever made, and I don't know how she had the time, but she has a job now, so I don't think she can watch as much now.
This is how I decompress. Like, if you ever have that, like, 9 to 5, and especially if you work in a call center or a high-pressure sales environment, you need that life.
Yeah,
unfortunately for me, it's television. Now, I do read while I watch TV. So it's
do you? So you multitask.
Yeah, I multitask. If I will read, I will be on Facebook.
If it's something you've seen, right?
Yeah, if it's something I've seen.
Yeah, I was about to say, if it's something new, you probably want to watch what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you watch movies, too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I see you mentioning movies every once in a while. But I was surprised, because recently I've noticed that you talk about sports, too. And I'm like, on top of that, we watch sport. I just picture... We got TV here with a show you like, and then we have another TV here with the thing.
I basically grew up in scenes, and my father.
I did too. I grew up with lots of TV.
I still do watch some scenes, but it was a way that my father got me into soccer, but it was a way for my father and I to bond.
Nice.
So Sundays I visit him, and we watch football. So that's how my father and I.
That's a wonderful sports story.
And then we'd have the Blues games, and it got really good when I turned 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when it was really good when we turned 19, because of course it was legal age. So
yeah. Okay. So now you can have some drinks with you.
Yeah. It would, like, my dad and I would throw back a couple, and we watch the Blues games, or we watch the Leafs, or we watch the Buffalo Bills,
That's wonderful.
Or we watch the we watch the Rangers.
I love that. That's a special memory for you. And now when you watch sports, it's kind of like he's there with you, even in spirit and stuff. That's nice. I like that.
And we bond over sports, and recently we started bonding over 24. So
24. You both watch that shit? Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad and I would try and find ways, and I grew, like I said, my brothers grew up playing hockey and soccer. My sister, well, I should say my brother and my half brother, but I don't put labels on that. And I grew up myself. I played soccer myself for about 7 years, and he was the one who got me into that.
Oh,
and
very nice.
My mother was the one who got me into the artistic stuff. So she, through the Hamilton Board of Education, she got me playing the violin. She used to sign me up for ballet, art classes at the. I took a couple of cartooning courses, one at Ryerson, one at the art gallery.
Wow.
I actually did my own comic. I remember Captain Planet. And
before there was a Captain Planet, or isn't there a Captain Planet?
Yeah, it used to be a
like an environmental show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Or Earthman or something like that. And I used to do it like that. And I remember the nemesis. I don't know whether I still have it, but the nemesis I think I came up with him was Trash Caper.
Trash Caper?
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, so I did something like that to the art gallery, and my mom and I would go see exhibits at the art gallery.
Okay.
And she would also give me she was the one who introduced me to the theater. So she was the one who introduced me to Andrew Lloyd Webber, and those who know me well know how much of a fan, and still am a fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Nice. What's your favorite play by him? If you had to pick a favorite.
If I had to pick a favorite, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I saw that twice with Donny Osmond.
With Donny Osmond too.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
it had to be Donny Osmond. It couldn't be anybody else. And I've seen Phantom twice. Once with Cole Wilkinson, and I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Hislop at all.
Yeah, he was
Today's Special.
Today's Special, and
so
I know he went to stage.
Yeah, I saw that once with Aha as well, and through the miracle of class trips, I got to see Les Mis on Broadway, and there were other musicals I saw with family. My mother was heavily into Mervyn, so I got to see the musical version of Young Frankenstein, Rock of Ages. And yes, they do the Frau Beluga and Bringing on the Ritz.
I've seen 2 local theaters do that, and I think Young Frankenstein is a really wonderful musical.
Yeah, and my mom, it was. And I also had the opportunity of seeing a couple of Theater Aquarius shows with her as well. And recently she signed me up for the Young Patrons Circle through the Hamilton Philharmonic. So I got to see a couple of their concerts.
Very nice.
Yeah, I got to see the opening, which was Goodyear and Brahms. I did the Night of Swing. I did the Christmas, the brilliantly Beethoven, and of course to top it off, she knew me so well, Beatles Experience.
The Beatles Experience.
And yes, they did have vocalists to do the Beatles songs as well as the Hamilton.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just instrumental Beatles.
No, it wasn't. Neither was the swing. So they did.
Nice.
So they did of course. When I think of swing, I can't think of swing without talking about Cole Porter.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Boy, you just absorbed so much. That's awesome. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. And
is there a hobby that you do that we might not know about?
I'm an avid. I used to read, but I'm basically on Facebook. I collect movies. Watch a lot of television. MP3s, so I'm a little bit of everything.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Oh, I listen to everything.
Everything, yeah. I thought
opera,
you would say that.
Classical, cannot get enough of the classic rock. Hands down. Even.
I know you love the singing stylings of John Barrowman. Every time I put a song up, you're like, if he did a version of it, I'm going to get that in my feed.
Yes,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I just thought, because I know every time I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this song in. Oh, have you heard his version? And I'm like, oh, she's a big John Barrowman fan.
I am. Unfortunately, yes, I am. Doctor Who led me to John Barrowman. The first episode I saw was the one with was the end of season 3. It was David Tennant and of course Captain Jack, who could and you cannot.
He's so awesome.
You cannot talk about John Barrowman without talking about Captain Jack Harkness.
Yeah, no, he's awesome in that, and then Torchwood.
Yeah, Torchwood.
I actually knew John Barrowman. He was in a nighttime soap that didn't do very well called Titans.
Oh.
And he was a really flip kind of guy. He played American, but he was just like always with the quips. He's kind of like one of those evil kind of brothers type thing. And then when I saw him as Jack Harkness, I was like, this is such a phenomenal character.
And you know what? He did a lot for. He was trying to do a lot for gay rights in the UK. And I like one of his quotes. He's about Captain Jack Harkness. He's a gay man playing an omnisexual hero loved by both sides of the Atlantic.
Yeah, I love that Jack Harkness is always like attracted to everybody practically.
Yeah.
And it works because he's very attractive, so it's easy to fall for him. And yeah, I just love it. And I think Torchwood's miniseries, I think it was called Children of the World?
Children of Earth.
Earth. I think that is one of the best miniseries. I was on the edge of my seat during that whole... I wasn't the biggest fan of Torchwood, but that miniseries, I was like... I tell people, you've got to see that. It is like just... I just remember being like having like hairs standing up on me. They did such a great job with it. So.
Or I like to say the 12th Doctor before the 12th Doctor. I mean, I'm a big fan of the New Who, and it's kind of like I'm glad they did. Unfortunately, he's leaving during the Christmas. Pierre Capaldi.
Yeah, he's leaving. Yeah.
He was subtly in, and it was leading up to him doing it. He did an episode called "The Fires of Pompeii." He was in Children of Earth as the Prime Minister. Here they are. They're bringing it. They brought him on as the 12th Doctor.
Yeah. So the Prime Minister's running around as the Doctor now.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a break, and it's Twin Peaks time. Now, if you are a fan, grab your coffee, grab your cherry pie, or whatever you want. I actually was never a fan of coffee or cherry pie, but I did force myself to eat it one time at a Twin Peaks party. But we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about that in our next segment. Thank you for being here, Justine. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello, we're back. I'm here with my co-host, Justine Dennis, and we are here. It's time for Talkin' Twin Peaks. Some of you will be like, what is that? And there will be spoilers. Let's say it's been 25 years. If you haven't seen it yet, but if you don't want it spoiled and you're planning to binge watch it before the new series, you might want to skip over because we will have to talk spoilers. It's 25 years. We can talk about it now. And we don't know what's going to happen on this new show, but we'll talk about the new show at the end. So anybody who's been under a rock, David Lynch and Mark Frost wrote a show called Twin Peaks that aired, I think, about 1990, I think it was. Wasn't it? I know I have my source book over there.
1990, 1991, because I remember it was when, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen this, I remember when Denise Bryson, played by David Duchovny, came on. It was like a year, it was probably about 2 years before the X-Files started, so it would have been about 91 when he came on, so it was 1991.
Twin Peaks only ran for 2 seasons, but it became like a national phenomenon. It also, the ratings tanked really quickly, but anybody who loves the show, they know about it. But I read a beautiful article about it, talking about, although it only ran for 2 years and became a cult hit, it basically inspired the television that we are watching now. From shows like Lost to the X-Files to anything, Twin Peaks was the cause. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? I can't even talk.
Yes, I do. And don't forget that infamous scene from Who Shot Mr. Burns?
Yeah. Anybody
who's familiar with Twin Peaks or Who Shot Mr. Burns would know the Black Lodge scene when they saw it.
Yeah. It's... I loved reading the interview because Twin Peaks was... You watched it when it first came out, right?
No, I was.
No, you watched it later.
No, I was actually too young. I would have been about 9 or 10.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm older. I forgot. I keep forgetting I'm an old guy.
Yeah, what self-respecting parents would actually allow?
No.
Although I was allowed to watch the X-Files, I was a little bit young for Twin Peaks. No, I saw it. I saw it probably when I was 18.
Okay, which is a nicer age to see it. Twin Peaks is basically the story of a small town with quirky characters, like colorful. Everybody's quirky in this town, and they're all shaken up because of the death of the sweet cheerleader who was this angel in the town named Laura Palmer, and she's found naked, wrapped in plastic, and almost everybody, there are a couple of people that weren't suspects, but almost everybody's a suspect in this town, and they find out as the story goes she was not an angel. She had a lot of darkness in her. And if you have never seen it, please see it. But please do not... I remember telling a girl, because she said, you like Twin Peaks. Should I watch it? Or should I watch Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me first? I said, for Christ's sakes, do not watch Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me until you've watched the series. Because if you watch the movie that they made after... that is dark, and it doesn't have any of the humor that the show has. See, the show was very dark and scary, but it was funny and quirky. Movie is not, and it's a beautiful... Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me is... I can't believe we're talking about the movie first. Is good as a companion after you watch the series. But if you watch the series first, the movie before the series, you'll be like... And I remember she stupidly watched the movie and said, I can't believe you like that piece of crap. And I go, you watched the movie, didn't you? And now you're not going to watch the series because there's no humor in it. What drew you to Twin Peaks?
Well, my mom was actually watching it. I don't know. I was just, I couldn't find anything to watch one day. And it
shocks me. She's watched everything right at that point.
Yeah.
But we didn't have as much to watch back then. We didn't have, Netflix and AMC and HBO.
I just happened to stumble across it. It was, spoiler alert, it was shortly before Cooper got framed for murder. So I came in. I didn't see it from the beginning.
Okay.
I saw it. I saw it probably toward the middle. It was after after he had that crazy psychedelic dream, but before Denise came. So it was right around the time when Audrey got kidnapped.
Okay.
So I came, like I said, I came in the middle, and it's kind of like I'm watching this. My mom's like, "Oh, keep it here," because she used to watch it.
Okay.
And then I was hooked. I just remember the first time. Sorry about that. I just remember the first time I saw Denise Bryson. My mother was talking to my aunt on the phone. I saw Denise Bryson walk in, and as soon as he said Coop, I could not stop howling.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know the show, Denise was played by David Duchovny, who's became famous just a few years later in the X-Files.
Less than 2.
And he plays a full-out, like, in drag, like a pre-op, I believe. I don't want to get this term. I think he's a pre-op.
No, he was a pre-op because the quote he says, I still put my leggings on one leg at a time.
So if you were familiar with him in the X-Files, to see him as a woman would have been something.
Like I said, I could not stop laughing.
Now, I watched it in its original run, so there was no X-Files. So when I saw it, what I love is that they never really tried to make him look really feminine. They just, that's a man. You're literally like, that's a man dressed as a woman. Then as you meet the character, you're like, oh no, okay, that's a woman. Like, he's a woman. But, yeah, they picked like a really masculine guy. They didn't try to like feminize it or anything. But
that's the brilliance of Twin Peaks, because if you are familiar with his work, I mean, like Twin Peaks was the lighter, but that's the brilliance of his work. It could be dark on 1 minute, and the next minute you got this guy in drag. I mean, Mulholland Drive, if you're familiar with that, it's the same way. I mean, it was a dark story, but it did happen. It did have its lighter moments. The scene I can remember is Justine Theroux walking in with seeing his wife in the throes with Billy Ray Cyrus. He says she walks away, and
I have to see this movie again. I've only seen it once.
And here you go. He takes a golf club to the guy's car.
Yeah. Twin Peaks. The one thing I loved about it is 1 minute you could be scared. The next minute you could be giggling. The next minute you could be like, what the fuck is going on? Pardon my language. But that show is... I showed it to my partner, Mike. He had never seen it. And I warned him. I said, okay, I've seen this a couple times now, and every time I watch it, I realize it's still, to me, will always be brilliant, and it's affected stuff I've done, like role-playing, writing, anything like that. It has inspired me. But as I rewatch it, I can find its problems, but I embrace those because it's really a weird show, and you got to live it to experience it. And I showed it to Mike, and Mike, after he finished watching it, he said, and I could tell some of the stuff was just like, what the hell? And he said, I was never bored because I was trying to figure out what's going on. He loved some of the scenes that just didn't make any sense to him. His absolute favorite scene, and you'd know it, everybody else you'd have to look it up, is the scene. He loved the scene. And to me, it's like, that's the scene you got out of the whole series. He loved the scene where Ben and Jerry were kids, and this babysitter used to come in and do dances with flashlights.
Oh, my God.
And he said he thought it was just weird that she would just come in and do these flashlights for these young boys. And there was nothing, she wasn't naked or anything, but do you remember the scene? It's such a strange scene, and that's what my partner picked out of the show, that, you know, but he said, no, I remember everything about it, and I don't know if he's going to watch the new one with us, but we'll get to that in a minute. Who is your favorite character in Twin Peaks? If you had to pick one.
Just one?
Oh, you can pick a couple. Talk about a couple. Who is your favorites?
Hands down, Dale Cooper. Obviously,
I know you're a big comic.
Obviously, Dale Cooper. He was the one who turned me on to Kyle MacLachlan. Now I realize because I saw him in the Flintstones.
Before that,
and kind of like, of course, and kind of like you go back, you really connect with the character, you really connect with an actor, and it's kind of like, wait a minute, he's in that. So yeah, I connect. Kyle MacLachlan, hands down.
Yeah, it's Agent Cooper is
yeah.
probably one of the best characters ever. It's Kyle MacLachlan's great. I remember being way too young, but I saw him in Dune.
Oh yeah,
Blue Velvet, which were both David Lynch. David Lynch actually cast Kyle MacLachlan because he always says Kyle MacLachlan's kind of a young version of him, and that's what he sees. And that's a great character. And Agent Cooper, basically, if you don't like Agent Cooper, you're probably not going to like Twin Peaks, because he is the main character, even though some might say Laura Palmer is, who's never really in the show, but she's in there all the time. Any other characters that your favorites were?
Sheriff Truman.
Truman. Are you sad that he's not going to be in the new, a new actor is going to be playing it?
What I liked about this, and I don't know whether you'll agree with me, it's the bromance between him and
yes, absolutely.
But the bromance, because of course the sexual tension between Lucy and Andy.
Yeah.
That made a lot of the humor. The jives between Ben and his brother.
Yeah.
Ben and his brother. That made a lot of the humor. Even the jives between him and even a lot of the humor with Dale Cooper and Warren Frost.
Oh, oh wow, we can't even remember that name. Doc Hayward.
Doc Hayward, Doc Hayward.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Lauren Frost. But a lot of the humor I find comes in the everyday situations. Like the first time he tried, Dale Cooper tried coffee and cherry pie from the Devlin diner. This must be where pies go when they die. Or even the subtlety of the coffee and the donut scene, right? Getting powdered sugar in the station, or God forbid, the Swedes.
The Swedes.
Swedes staying at
the Swedes are leaving. The Swedes are leaving. Yeah.
Even with his notes to Diane, or the interaction between Kyle MacLachlan and David Lynch himself and Gordon Cole. It's like he's yelling at everybody else. He can hear this one particular person. Yeah,
it's a wonderful roster of characters. My favorite, besides Agent Cooper, I agree with you, Harry Truman, him and the dynamic between those two is what makes Twin Peaks. Audrey Horne is my favorite. In fact, I've known I was gay a long time, but when Audrey showed up, I was questioning it. I actually remember having a picture. I still have it around. She's not up right now, but Sherilyn Fenn, beautiful. I am so happy she's in the new show. Just the scene where she's it's like a little troublemaker at the beginning, just no real friends, I like that she's kind of like a nice girl, but she portrays a bad girl, but in some ways Audrey's actually quite innocent in some ways. She tries desperately to play the bad girl, but she is... In some ways, I think, because Laura turns out to be the bad girl, and Audrey looks like the bad girl, but then you realize she's deliberately trying to get attention, to get her father's love, to get anybody's love. She winds up in Dale's bed, and, it's the most innocent thing,
She tried to get, Audrey tried to bed Dale.
Yeah, well,
the only...
They are, everybody was a little bit... Are they ever going to get together? And I've read stories, I don't know if you've heard them, why they never got together. And one I heard is that Kyle MacLachlan was actually dating Lara Flynn Boyle on the set, and she did not want that to happen. Now, I'd like to believe the second story is that Kyle MacLachlan believed that Dale Cooper would not date an underage girl, because she was still only supposed to be about 17, and thought he would not have a relationship with a high school girl because he was such an honorable man.
Was that why they brought on Annie?
Yeah, because if you remember, they brought in Annie, Heather Graham.
Yep.
And then Billy Zane came on. I
Audrey,
swear,
yeah.
he showed up for 3 episodes just to, like, lose her virginity. But I like the fact that Dale Cooper said he, as much as he was probably attracted to, he would not date someone that young. And I respect that. And that's why I hold out now, because now they're both older, so it could happen now. Because as far as I know, Annie's not going to be in the new.
They weren't. I heard rumors that they actually were going to bring her on.
Yeah, well,
but that was way back when it was first announced. First announced, I don't know now.
Yeah.
But I heard rumors that they might bring her on. But
I haven't heard Heather Graham coming back. So
I heard
we'll
Denise was coming back, but
they've had pictures out. Yeah, I think full-grown woman now.
In between his stints as Fox Mulder, because they did do the.
Yeah, he's got the new X-Files.
Yeah, they did the new revival, and they brought. They're going to do another set. So.
Now, when you first watched Twin Peaks, did you know who the killer was? Because you said you watched it later.
No.
Who was your number one suspect in the? Like, who did you think did it?
Leland.
Me too.
Leland, but then
spoiler alert, it turned out to technically be Leland, though some people still say it was Bob that did it. But I still think Leland still had something to do in there.
I thought it was either going to be Leland or I thought it was going to be Ben.
Yeah, Ben. Yeah, they kept pointing the finger at him a lot.
Because of the whole thing, because he did like the underage girls at that Canadian place he owned.
Oh, One-Eyed Jacks.
One-Eyed
Jack.
And I just remember that scene when Audrey came in as the new girl.
Geez.
And she wanted...
The mask, yeah.
Yeah, with the mask, and of course she's asking to Ben Horn. And it's kind of like, I'm thinking to myself, is David Lynch actually going to go down that road?
Yeah, no, that's a twisted little scene, but it's so well done. Because Ben Horn basically shows up to like get all the new virgins, and Audrey's undercover there, and she's like, he's very close to almost bedding down his own daughter, and she's got a mask trying to like avoid it at all costs. And I'm like, wow, this is stuff you don't see on TV too much.
There was another one I thought, and that was Jacques Renault.
Yeah, I always got the Renault brothers always mixed up. But
Jacques was the one who didn't. Jacques was the one who didn't appear in Firewatch with me. John was the one who tried to bed Laura. He was the fat guy from One-Eyed Jacks. Jacques was the one. Jacques was the one who was thin, had blonde curly hair, and spoke with a French accent.
So you were like me. I was on to Leland right from the start. I think it was the crazy dancing or the walking and stuff. Now, they took a survey, I don't know if you heard this, between season 1 and season 2, because Laura Palmer's killer wasn't revealed. They had, season 1 was only like 6-7 episodes, something like that. 8 episodes? Yeah. And then it was revealed in the second season about halfway through. And David Lynch said he never actually wanted to ever reveal it. And because the ratings were slipping, ABC pulled and said no. And then the ratings really went down after. But do you know who, they took a poll, and do you know who they thought, like, they asked America, who killed Laura Palmer? Do you know who their number one guess was?
Leland?
No, Dr. Jacoby. Everybody who watched the show, majority said it's Dr. Jacoby because he was so weird. You know, because he was Laura's therapist, and I think the only person who didn't sleep with Laura, like everybody else seemed to. I know. I think everybody tried to, or they did, because I lost count of how many people Laura had slept with.
Now, No, I'm not surprised because those of you who are familiar with Twin Peaks, like Devlin, know how much of a nut bar he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was off the wall. He looked like half the time.
He was a psychiatrist too.
Yeah, he was a psychiatrist, but he was like that hippie psychiatrist. He looked like he was high half the time.
I think the only thing he successfully did is I think he was responsible for making Audrey's brother not wear the Indian headdress at Laura's funeral, because I think that had something to do with it.
Now, that was something else that was really interesting, because you had a lot of interesting side characters in season 1 who just seemed to phase out in season 2, like Audrey's brother, like Mrs. Hayward. Like
sisters. Donna had sisters.
Yeah, Donna had sisters that weren't there. Audrey's mother, because they made a lot of it about her and Ben.
But what did you feel that by season 2, they were too many new characters?
There were. I mean,
every episode, there's like 4 characters introduced, and there's no room for the ones I want to see. Audrey gets kind of shoved off to the side.
I'm just wondering, for those of you who have not seen this big spoiler alert, I'm just wondering if she survived from the bank explosion.
Well, we're going to think Audrey did, because she's in the new show. I think everybody else, they're not coming back, are they? Who else was in there? That was
Kyle MacLachlan's confirmed for a cameo. I don't know who else is coming back. Denise, I know, is confirmed. Those are the Audrey is confirmed.
Well, Kyle's still coming back.
Yeah. So for me, all I know who's confirmed, Devlin, you might be able to help me fill in.
Actually, before we talk about the new show, a couple questions about the old one thing. But yeah, we will talk about that new show, because our hopes and our dreams. Bob, were you freaked out by Bob? Because he freaked me out, because I watched that late at night. And I know adult people at the time were like freaked out by Bob.
Oh yeah, Frank and Silver, God rest his soul, yes. Yes, and I was definitely freaked out by Bob. It's kind of like, here is this. Okay, I'm going to go back to Stephen King. I do apologize, but I'm going to make this analogy. If you've ever read The Stand, you're familiar probably with the bad guy. He's like the devil. Why can't I blank on the name right now? He's like the Man in Black.
Okay.
He's like the Man in Black. He takes many forms, but that's what Bob reminds me of, because he took over Leland. He was there. He's taking over Cooper.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Shouldn't put spoiler on.
That's again 25 years. If they haven't seen it by now, or haven't turned it off as we're talking about it.
Randall Flagg, that's it. So Bob is like, for me, Bob is like Randall Flagg. He's the embodiment of evil. He's not technically supposed to be the devil like Randall Flagg is in The Stand, but here he is. He's influencing these group of people through evil deeds, like Bob did in Twin Peaks. Whether he did it himself or through Leland Palmer or God, I hope not, Dale Cooper in the revival.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure, because that was a hell of a cliffhanger. So Leland, I'm going to spoil it now. Leland, who is Laura's father, was the man who killed Laura Palmer under the influence of Bob in his body.
He also under the influence, whoever haven't seen Fire Walk With Me, he tried to rape her as well.
Yeah.
In Fire Walk With Me, you see the right before she dies, you see the scene in the tram car, and while he's murdering her, he's doing his thing.
Yeah, but that's Bob inside of him, because Bob was like a child molester or something, wasn't he?
He was. And Mike was the good one. Mike, who did the one-armed salesperson named Mike.
Yeah, and I have to say that the actress who plays Laura Palmer comes back as her cousin Maddie.
Yeah, Cheryl Lee.
And it's revealed that Leland is the killer and that Bob is inside of him when he actually kills Maddie. Right. That was one of the most shocking scenes I remember watching. And I've seen a lot of shocking scenes on TV. But when Leland is revealed and they keep going back and forth, and then they slow down the sound.
Ooh, yeah.
What I love about what they did there was when they slow down the sound while Maddie's getting killed, they're both screaming. Bob's screaming as Leland, and Maddie's screaming because she's dying. But when they slow it down, they sound the same. Did you notice that? Like,
No.
she's like, whoa! Like, and it's
No.
like the creepiest death scene I think I've seen on TV. Yes, there's probably gory ones, but this is just tragic because everybody just thinks Maddie left.
Yeah.
You know, so now we have to talk about the cliffhanger, and then we'll go into the new show. The cliffhanger ends, like you said, a lot of people's lives are in the balance, but the final sequence is we believe Bob is in Dale Cooper.
How's Annie? How's Annie?
Right. And that's a huge cliffhanger. And I think David Lynch and Warren Frost decided if they're not going to bring us back, we're going to leave it with the biggest cliffhanger because everybody almost is in peril. But to have your main character that everybody loves, and we now know a demon that becomes a serial killer's in him, how are they going to explain this? Has he been killing people for 25 years?
And I think it's the same way that he possessed that he possessed Leland. In order to save Annie, he had to accept him in. Because if you remember, in the final sequence, he's in the Black Lodge, he's chasing him. And if you have seen Fire Walk with Me, Evil Cooper escaped, and Good Cooper is still in the Black Lodge, still wandering around, and in the final moments he had to make that choice. He's had to become evil, save Annie, or become good and lose that innocence of letting the one love he loved since Caroline.
Yeah, his wife. Yeah.
No, not his wife. Or Wyndham Earle's wife.
Okay,
if you're not familiar with Wyndham Earle, Cooper's first partner.
Yeah, who comes back later, and I actually showed I always liked the show, but I found when Wyndham Earle came back, the show was starting to get interesting again, and then it was sad that it got canceled.
Yeah, though the scene with the I'm sorry, I'm probably giving like a whole whack.
That's 25 years. If they haven't watched it or stopped listening to it, we just revealed who did, you know.
Yeah, so the first scene when you have some chess piece, and he goes, Wyndham Earle. Next episode, he's explaining to Truman who Wyndham Earle is and who Caroline is. His wife. He fell in love. They had a emotional affair, and he believed. Caroline ended up dead, and he believed Wyndham Earle did it, or one insane like Bob.
Now, were you excited to hear Twin Peaks? Like, are you shocked? Like, did you think it was a dream? Like, with the little person in there, and when you heard Twin Peaks was going to finally, after 25 years, get another.
Don't laugh, but if you're Aha was the one who posted, because she knows me, and it's kind of like, okay, and she knows something I like, and especially when it comes to Kyle MacLachlan. She posted the article on my Facebook page. So so I came home, and I came home from work, and out and about with my mom or her, and it's kind of like I look, and it's kind of like, Aha Blue posted something on your link. Twin Peaks is coming back, and it's kind of like, and then a few days later, you messaged me saying it's coming back.
Yeah.
We have to do a podcast before it happens.
Yeah, and we'll, once we've watched it, we'll have to compare notes. And I remember one of my friends said, well, why would they wait so long? And that I go, you know what? This is actually the perfect way, because Laura Palmer in Coop's Dreams says, I'll see you in 25 years.
That's why they did it, because they wanted to do that 25 years. That's why they waited so long.
Right, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Just for that one line to make sense.
Right. And when I heard about it, I said, it's 25 years. Laura Palmer's coming back or some form or something. And I'm excited, but then there was a moment. I have to admit, there is a moment I'm a little nervous. Because I heard that, like, if David Lynch was just doing this, it would be... The thing that made Twin Peaks work is a man, is it Warren? Not Warren Frost.
No, Warren Frost was the actor, Mark Frost.
Mark Frost, sorry. Yeah, Mark Frost, they claim that David Lynch gets these wild ideas, but it's actually Mark Frost that keeps the tone, like he keeps David Lynch in line so the stories sort of make sense. Because Mark Frost used to write on soap operas, and he knows how to keep that. Where David Lynch would get these wild ideas, and he goes, okay, why don't we take those wild ideas and make it... And he'd convince David Lynch into that. And I am glad they're both coming back, because honestly... The last couple of David Lynch movies have freaked me out so much, I'm nervous. I was so nervous when I heard they're doing it again, because I was like almost hoping like a fan would be doing these. But now that I know that Mark Frost is back too, Now, I have heard they've said that some people have seen the first couple of episodes on Showtime, and they said Twin Peaks fans are going to be freaking out. They said, we've seen the first couple of episodes, and it's what you would dream of. Like, it's exactly Twin Peaks. I just hope I'm a little nervous, because it seems like there's already 400 people on this cast. No, okay, maybe that's too much, but Kyle MacLachlan is back. They have to. It's really, why would we do it without him? Sherilyn Fenn, I've heard.
Robert Forster.
Yep. I've heard Sherilyn Fenn. Did we say that already?
Yeah.
I just keep saying her because I like her so much.
Cheryl Lee?
Cheryl Lee is back, and my dream for her is that she shows up as a third character but with red hair now. We've seen the brunette, we've seen the... Well, she says, I'll see you in 25 years, so let's have another character show up, you know?
Yeah,
That's my dream. That's one of my dreams, is that she's a new character, but she's like a redhead, because we haven't seen her in that aspect.
Yeah, they're bringing a whole whack of new people on.
Yeah,
like they did.
Peggy Lipton is back.
Really?
Mach and Mick.
Nice.
Dana Ashbrook.
Oh no.
James Marshall. I forgot their names. Ed and Nadine are supposedly back.
Yeah.
And now I think there's a couple people that have died, but I think they actually filmed.
Yeah,
something. Warren Frost. Miguel Ferrer, I think, filmed some stuff for it. The Log Lady, I'm not sure about.
Yeah, Catherine Coulson.
Yeah, I don't know if she died before filming, but
yeah, she died before filming. I know. Yeah, a few people.
And Harry Truman is coming back, but I know it's a different actor.
What?
Michael Onkeen said he wasn't coming out of retirement for it. David Duchovny is going to be back.
Yeah, I Elsa's lost it for David Duchovny if he puts on the pantyhose again.
He's. I think they say he's got the full operation now.
Oh, my.
When we meet, I think he's like a court justice or something. I don't know.
Court justice. I saw the picture.
Yeah, and I think he's full woman now. So I think he's got more like feminine like looks to him now.
Which is kind of funny because he went. Which is kind of funny. Sorry to interrupt because he's done two of his classic characters within the last 2 years. He was, of course, in the X-Files revival as himself on Fox Mulder.
Yeah.
And of course. Fox ordered new episodes of the revival for X-Files, and now he's back as his classic transvestite as Denise Bryson.
Yeah. And I you know who else is back? I believe Ray Wise.
Leland.
Yes.
How the heck are they gonna?
Now here's my theory. This is what I think because the guy. Now, do you believe that Dale has Bob in him? Like, do you think when we start the show, Bob will be there somewhere?
I don't know how, but I believe Dale had some evil in him, and that's the personification of Bob, why we see How's Annie, because you have to think about it. The Black Lodge is strictly evil, and the White Lodge is good.
Yeah, I agree. They have to deal with that. They put Bob inside. Now, this is my theory. If anybody who can survive Bob, it would be Dale.
Oh, yes.
Like with his Tibetan theories and stuff. He probably can suppress Bob.
Yeah.
This is my theory, and this is the only way I can see it. Since the actor who plays Bob, rest in peace, Frank Silva, was it?
Yes, it was.
He's dead now. Leland could be the new Bob.
Oh, that makes sense.
White hair. He's now Bob inside. So Leland, I think, is going to be the new Bob. That's the only thing I can think of. And so it would be like when Bob leaves, then the next person. So Dale would show up in the next person. That's the only thing I can think of. And
that is very Lynchian. I could actually imagine him.
I'll almost be disappointed if it doesn't, because it'd be weird Leland walking around since he died. Spoiler alert, he died in the original series.
Yeah.
There's no way that's going to be Laura Palmer showing up again. This has got to be another character that she's playing.
Well, I've heard a couple of weird theories, and you know how the internet is.
Yeah,
I heard it was Laura. I heard it was Maddie. I've heard them all, and now your theory might actually make sense, that they might actually bring her on as a third character.
I don't think Donna's coming back, because Larry Flynn Boyle's retired, and they didn't even ask Moira Kelly, who played her in Fire Walk with Me. She's shivering here. She's like, I like Moira Kelly, but she wasn't Donna.
No. I liked her better. I liked her better, like in One Tree Hill, in The West Wing, in her later roles.
Yeah, I think some of the decisions were fine. Like, I don't think we need Catherine Martell. I like Catherine.
No.
But Catherine would be so old now. Like, it just makes sense that the thing. But is there anything specific you're hoping for in the new Twin Peaks?
How's Annie?
You want Heather Graham. I have not heard Heather Graham coming back.
I've heard.
Okay, maybe they're going to surprise us or something. Are you nervous that there's so many new characters?
Yeah, well, you know what?
Like, we got Laura Dern. I can't even think.
What I like about
Getty.
What I like about it is a lot of the ensemble have already been in the David Lynch, like Laura Dern and Wild at Heart and Blue Velvet. Robert Forrester in Mulholland Drive. Yeah. So there's a few new ones who have not played David Lynch, but looking at the cast, and a lot of them have played David with him, and that's what I like about it. It's kind of like he uses his actors, but he uses them in different ways. Kyle MacLachlan being a perfect example.
I kind of hope Chris Isaac would show up again. He was on Fire Walk with Me. I'm just hot for Chris Isaac. I need to see some Chris Isaac.
You know what? I was hoping, for me, it was David Bowie.
Yeah.
God rest in peace, David Bowie, because I really liked him as Phil Jeffries. And you know what? I even heard that David Lynch himself might make an appearance.
Yes, he is back. Yes, he is.
Agent Cole.
Yeah, he is supposedly back. And I think, like, Andy and Lucy, they're all back, too. I don't think you're going to get Richard Tremaine. So I think we're going to find out who the baby... Because remember, she didn't know who the father was. So I'm assuming Andy is going to be the father.
Oh, he better be.
It's funny. I have not heard casting for younger people, but I would assume some of these people had kids in the time. Like, we're seeing, like, what's Bobby and James growing up. They've got to have had kids. or something.
Well,
especially if you're starting a new generation of a soap, you need young people, right?
Yeah. Well, I think they're trying to. Trying to go away from the traditional soap opera like you see on daytime, where the actor plays like 3 different versions of himself, like the original character, his twin, or his son.
Yeah. Because they've done that with Laura already.
So Laura is the quintessential daytime soap opera because they had her as Laura, they had her as Maddie.
Yeah. The one thing that's awesome that's coming back, we'll wrap it with this, is Angelo Badalamenti coming back for the music. I'm pretty sure, because one thing anybody can say about Twin Peaks is that soundtrack is legendary and wouldn't be that show without it. Like, so gorgeous.
I remember having, I remember having the soundtrack, and I remember finding I think it was like the Black Lodge scene, and since because it didn't have any music, and since I remember playing the music on my MP3 and watching the Black Lodge scene with the music itself.
That's awesome. It's such a great soundtrack. I think it's like movie quality. Like it's a legit score. I rank it as one of my favorite albums of all time. Like people say, if you had 10 albums, would you bring it on an island? I'm thinking that would be in there, but then I'm thinking, why the hell would I play that creepy music on an island by myself?
But
it's so beautiful. And there's beautiful too. Have you ever seen the YouTube clip where Angela Badalamenti talks about him and David Lynch composing Laura's theme?
No.
Oh, if you get a chance, look it up on YouTube. It is orgasmic how he's like, David Lynch is describing the scene and Angela Badalamenti, and you're hearing all the levels, and now she's crying, and now she's like, do yourself a favor. When you get a sandwich, go home and watch that tonight. It's only about 5 minutes. It's just like Angela Badalamenti inspired by David Lynch. It's gorgeous. Anyway, we've Twin Peaks enough. We're going to do some topics. Tease-O-Rama, she's starving enough. We got to get her some food in here. And we will be back.
Yeah.
Welcome back, and we're going to do a Topics Tease-O-Rama here with Justine Dennis. I love when people are excited about doing Topics Tease-O-Rama. I just said we could be talking about things we might not want to talk about, and she just said, oh, God. I love when people are excited about that. For you regular viewers, you know what we're going to do.
As an improv offer.
This is improv. This is going to get you back into the improv. So basically what we do is we pick random topics, and God, they could be dated. I don't know. We will see. And we talk about them as long as we can, and if we have nothing to say about them, well, we move on to the next topic, okay? I am going to look. Okay, I can do that here. Excuse the clicking. Okay, this one we do set for about 20 minutes. Unless we're in the middle of something like really good when we're talking like life after death or something. But I don't think we're usually that deep, but you never know. So I'm going to let you pick our first one. Excited, nervous, what is it?
Nervous.
Think of it as a David Lynch improv skit.
Oh, okay. Where's the red room when you need it?
That's the other room. That's our bedroom.
Oh, favorite Marvel movie so far.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. Okay, say it again, nice and loud for everyone to hear.
Favorite Marvel movie so far.
So far, I put, because, they release one every week.
Hands down so far has to be Doctor Strange.
Oh, wow. Excellent choice.
At least until Ragnarok comes out.
So what is it about Doctor Strange that you loved?
Besides the fact that I'm a big Cumberbatch fan myself. Well, I like.
So you're what are the
Benedict Cumberbatch?
I know, yeah, but his fans are called something, aren't they?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Cumberbitchins, maybe?
That's what I'm thinking, but it doesn't seem appropriate to call you that. So since you said it, I'm glad you did.
Well, yeah, no, he also did some really good Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
But no, the reason why I like that one is not because I'm a big Cumberbatch fan, but I like the visualization.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they did a really good job with the cinematography. They did a really good job with the storyline. Like, they stayed true to the comics at the point I was launching where they got his second cloak. But yeah, and not to mention he does a really good American accent, and and a prick.
I love the character. I thought he was like so ego.
You know what? You know what? For the first time I saw it, I had to remind myself he was not Gregory House.
Yeah.
Because he was that egomaniac prick with an American accent, and he. The second time I saw, like when I got into the movies, I'm like, okay, he moved less away from the Gregory House. Started caring about other people, caring about what happened.
Yeah.
Especially the scene where he got the cape or his relic when it shows him.
Yeah.
Or even the scene where he can actually forgive the ancient one from the Dark Dimensions. And I'm sorry, I'm probably going through spoilers again, but
that's okay.
Yeah. So it's all that. Essentially, since they set up Baron Mordor, who in the comics is one of his arch enemies, they started off friends. He becomes enemies only because of the teaching of the Ancient One, who he thinks deceived him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I went into the Marvel Universe not knowing a lot about this, and I didn't know Doctor Strange. I did not know anything about, and then I thought they did a great job with it. Like, I went in not knowing anything. I always think, okay, this is going to be the one I'm not going to like, but I've not liked any of them because they always interest me, the characters, and I can't wait to see him interacting with other characters. My favorite Marvel movie so far, most people know, is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Of course, it's one of my, but my favorite Marvel movie, hands down, definitely Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I love Guardians because it mixes action with comedy and the heartwarming part. Yeah. That's the stuff I didn't expect. The whole stuff with Star-Lord's mother broke my heart. It's very rare that you'll see me get to a movie theater 5 times now because of the prices of movies. And I did. That and the first new Star Trek they did. I went 5 times. And I have to admit, I do have a bit of a crush on Chris Pratt. I always have to wait because Chris Pine. You throw anybody with a Chris. Apparently, I like Chris's.
Do you like O'Donnell?
I love O'Donnell. 5 times Batman Forever. Okay. I'm still one of the few people who love Batman Forever, but we're talking Marvel movies.
Now, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay. Reverse topics, Tease-O-Rama, but we'll go for it. I love it.
It's kind of on the lines of the favorite Marvel movie, and are you going to be one of those people who are going to see Guardians to midnight this Thursday?
No. I have become too old for that. I am going to see... I can tell you when I'm going to see it, because we just bought our tickets yesterday. I am going to see it at 4:05. In fact, it's weird, because when this airs, I'll have seen it already. Because I am going on the Saturday. I do the afternoons. I do afternoons because I did one of those... I think Phantom Menace killed me for it, because we went to a midnight showing.
Yeah.
And we waited in line. This is back in the days when you waited in line.
Yeah, I remember
and
those days.
We were in line since about 4 in the afternoon. Oh. And I remember it was too much. And I said, you know what? I can wait a day or two, avoid the internet, seeing what people say about it. Though people have already seen it and they're already reviewing it. But I am so excited for this.
I remember when I went and saw Doctor Strange, I remember how excited I was. I went and saw it with my friend Aha.
That's cool.
We didn't see it opening. We saw it opening weekend, so I was working the Friday, and so was she. So we saw it the Sunday, I do believe, in Burlington. And we saw it in 3D.
Yeah.
And we were both saying it was because of the sensual effects, especially in that scene in the Dark Dimension and all of that.
I agree with you.
Kevin Feige has such... It's like David Lynch because he was a painter, and I know I'm probably tying all this in together, but because he had because David Lynch was a painter, he had an eye for cinematography.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige must have had some sort of art background because his cinematography is so vivid.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking DC because I swing both cams. For me, the reason why, besides the fact that I'm a Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Cumberbatch. You like using that a little too much. That's good.
Well, hands down, I saw him in Sherlock with with Stephen Moffat, and like him or hate him with Doctor Who. He did a fantastic job with Sherlock, but he is a phenomenal actor, and he was perfect for that role, the arrogance.
Absolutely.
Because he can, for me, I think he can draw on the fact that he did do Sherlock before this, and he didn't play similar roles, but he has had, like, different backgrounds.
Yeah. And I agreed with you with, I usually, if I have a choice, I won't go to the 3D. But we actually went to a 3D, and this was a movie you had to see in 3D.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange just was mind-blowing. Let's get another topic. And nice and loud, you get to read it. She's reading it first.
Best advice you ever received?
Ooh. What is the best advice you ever received in life by anyone?
In life or in improv?
Anywhere. Improv is life. So.
Well, I've received a lot of advice, and I guess the best advice improv related is from you.
Oh. Am I going to get quoted here? Please do.
The best advice in improv I got was from you was be yourself.
That sounds like something I would say. I'd say that in regular life too.
Yeah, it was be yourself. I remember coming back after taking a bit of a hiatus, coming back and trying to come back to a beginner's workshop. You told me not to try so hard and just be yourself.
Well,
I've heard that a lot.
That's a great one. Yeah, well,
I've heard that a lot from the improvers. Hugh MacLeod, Peter and Kim Johansson, Craig Ringtool.
Yeah. Best advice I got? I can't even think. I've gotten a lot of great advice. I'll stick with improv and then I'll tell you a funnier one. My improv one I remember, the greatest thing I remember, and we need to teach this more because I really think we need it, is you got to learn the rules to break the rules.
That sounds like either Hugh, Kim, Craig, or Peter.
It could have been any of those people. But I just love that because I think people try to break the rules before they know the rules, but I think it's important that you know them. But I think that works in life, too. You got to learn how to play the game before you can start effing around with the game.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to say, this piece of advice, I don't think it's the greatest thing, but it always sticks with me, and I actually think it is. And I know she's probably going to be listening to this. A lady that I worked with named Gabriella has an Italian mom, because she's Italian. And her mom used to tell something to her, and it always sticks in my head now, and it's like, God always helps the stupid. And she's giggling right now that I'm repeating. I love this because whenever anything bad would happen, she says, "Don't worry, Gabriella, God helps the stupid." And I love that saying. I don't care even if you're religious or not. It's a funny saying, and it does happen. If you look around, people, it happens all the time. Let's do another topic. Will it be as deep as the best advice?
Now, is this Fiddler on the Roof, or do you actually mean Sunrise and Sunset?
Of course, she just mentioned she liked music. I think that means sunrise, sunset, sunrise. That basically it says sunrise or sunset. No, that's not Fiddler on the Roof, but it is. Do you prefer sunrise or sunset?
I'm a morning person.
So that's
So I'm actually hoping I can keep it together on the bus because I'm not a night owl once it gets dark. So I prefer like they're both good in
they're
their
both
own,
beautiful.
yeah, they're both beautiful in their own way. And yes, I do like that song from Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm a big, like I said, he is. Like I said, I'm a big music fan. I like all sorts of genres, including musicals.
Yeah,
so.
and that would be one. Yeah, well, it's funny. I knew it because we used to sing that when I was in I don't know, it was high school, but I was in the school choir, and I remember we sang Sunrise, Sunset. I like sunrise, too. Sunset's beautiful, don't get me wrong. The colors in the sky and sunset but sunrise always reminds me of when Mike and I kind of got together. Our commitment was on the sun was rising. That was our wedding. We didn't, have a fancy thing. So I have to pick sunrise on that. Get us another topic. We probably still got time. Oh yeah, we got tons of time.
A TV show people would be surprised you watch.
Well, Mrs. TV here. Miss TV. We know you watch science fiction. Well, you might have gave it away with Fraggle Rock already. What's a show that people would be surprised that you watch, that you care to admit to us? Do you have a weird one that people might be like, oh my God, you watch that? She has to think because she watches a lot of television shows. That's a perfect one for you.
My slate to unwind after work.
Yeah.
And now with the invention of the DVR, I can get caught up.
So, is there a show that people would be shocked that you watch? A show that you're kind of shocked that you watch?
It's actually on tonight. It's called Stan Lee's Lucky Man.
Okay, you were telling me about that beforehand.
Yeah, so it's not actually a comic book show or science fiction or anything that has to do with like action or crime drama, which I'm used to. It's fantasy almost. It's about a degenerate gambler cop who finds a bracelet. They used to give him bad luck. Now it gives him good luck.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. I told you should check out Riverdale.
Yeah, Riverdale.
Twin Peaks light. It's on course, but it's good. And you said you're familiar with Archie and all that world.
Yeah. The other one will probably be Saving Hope.
Okay, that's the Canadian.
Yeah, that's the Canadian.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, Canadian with Canadian hospital drama.
Erica
Durant, Michael Shanks, formerly Daniel. I don't know if it's Gillies or Charles, and if you're familiar with him, he's best known as Elijah Michelson.
Yeah.
And then we had like Wendy Cruz and a whole lack of. Well, I grew up.
I think I haven't watched that show. I watch it when I flick around the TV because it's one of the few stations we get. And the one thing about that show is I believe if I actually watch that, I know a lot of my friends who have done cameos, as in people in the waiting room and stuff, so it would be weird because I would see people. I don't know if I should really embarrass myself here. I have always said I'm a 14-year-old girl at heart. And I love some of the Disney Nickelodeon shows. And one of my favorites, I'm really going to embarrass myself, is Austin and Ally. I absolutely love this show. And when I don't want to think, I put on Austin and Ally.
I used to do that. You know what, Devlin? I used to do that Saturday morning with Boy Meets World.
They play on the same thing. So, and I love this show. It's goofy, it's silly, and it's a beautiful show that I don't have to turn my mind on for. I can just say, okay, entertain me, monkeys.
My mom's the same way because my mother's the same way with Inspector Morse. She can put it on.
Okay.
She can put it on. It's like popcorn for the brain, or Harry Potter because it's popcorn for the brain. It's like it's not deep enough or graphic enough, but it's something you can just like enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do one more. I think we have time. Sorry, you were grabbing for your drink. Oh, depends on what it is. Oh, that one looks like a good one.
Sport many know you have played.
Well, you kind of revealed that.
Soccer.
I was about to say.
Soccer. I played soccer. My father got me into the Flamborough Soccer League, and ergo my love of soccer and Manchester United. But I played soccer for 7 years. I played different positions. So the last position I remember playing was my coach put me in the striker position. So yeah, it was fun. I wasn't always the best. I wasn't always the best person, but I went out there and gave it my all every time I get.
You had fun with it.
I had fun with it. It's kind of like improv. I wasn't. As everyone knows, I wasn't the strongest out there all the time, but I went out and had fun anyway.
You always jumped in and delivered, and you did what you were asked.
I remember this. I remember when I was starting first up in staircase. We were doing this. Game, and we had to. I can't remember the name of it, and all I remember is I had to do something in the. I had to do something in line, and all I can remember was. Here's your intro, Mr. President.
Okay, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, and improv. I had a lot of support with improv, whether it be you, Hugh, Kim, Craig, Peter's son, or Wayne, or any of them there. It's kind of like I had the support there. They gave me actually, okay, this is what you can do better, or
Sport, people are shocked that I even played sports. I don't want to give a sob story, but when I actually really liked sports. But sports didn't like me. I was a husky kid. So in gym, I got made fun of a lot. I actually liked basketball because I was short and husky we'll go with. I wasn't very good at it, but I always tried to play, but kids made fun of me, so I never went out for stuff. But I did play floor hockey, and I actually enjoyed it, believe it or not. It's probably the game I stuck with and was actually on a team for 1 year. That was my only closest thing to sports. So that's it, because you would not get me on regular skates in no way, no how. So, Justine, we've come to the end of our show. You survived it. You survived Topics Tease-O-Rama. There wasn't too anything embarrassing in there, so that was good. So we'll have to have you back after we've seen the new show and see what Twin Peaks brings to us. And we're getting a lot of episodes, too. It's something
really?
It was only supposed to be something like 10 episodes, and now it's up to 22, I think.
That's a full season.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Wow.
I believe it is. We'll have to see. But anyhow, it was great having you here. It's been a while since we sat and talked face-to-face, so it's been really nice.
I enjoyed it, too. It feels like the old days. It's me and you having a conversation, talking about life, talking about movies, and
because we only talk on Facebook, really, so this is nice to actually see you face-to-face, and thank you for coming out.
Not a problem.
And thank you for listening, and we will be back next week with a brand new episode.